recording is really to promote and to protect your psychosocial well-being, your mental health. And I would love and I would want to say that there is no health without mental health. In fact, most of the things that we suffer as human beings, it's all because of our minds. The mind is a powerful instrument that God gave us. I always say to people that your mind is not you. You are not your mind, but your mind has got a lot of influence on how you feel and what you do as a person. And we're going to be talking on how we also treat this. Given the COVID-19, I think that word everybody now knows it. I was watching and seeing that babies in the next 10 years will be called COVID-19, quarantine and all that. It was a joke, but this thing is so real. And there are common feelings and thoughts that occur in pandemics. So when you are feeling this kind of feelings, you are not necessarily ill. It's normal human behavior. We are all wired to feel in a certain way and to behave in a certain way when certain things are happening, especially where there are no answers. So it's a normal feeling. So don't find it strange when these things are happening to you. For example, there's a lot of fear of falling ill, a lot of fear of falling ill, fear of dying. People actually are fearing dying. The reason why all of us are in lockdown, everybody fears dying. That thought came through your mind that what will happen if I catch it? What will happen if I am one of the unlucky ones, the 20% that will develop the severe one and will need respirators, ventilation, and there are no ventilation machines in Zimbabwe, that are enough for you. There's also the avoidance of healthcare facilities. We have seen a lot of healthcare facilities. I was talking to some of my friends who run 24-hour emergency casualties. The numbers are very few. And the reason why is that people actually fear to come. So right now, there are people that are sick at home. There are people that are refusing to go to hospitals because they fear of contracting it when they go to a medical care facility. There are people that fear losing their livelihood. People that are fearing losing their jobs. In Zimbabwe, we have seen so many companies, I will not mention any names, that have fired contract workers, that have closed. Hotel chains have been closed. Everything has been closed. And when you are part of that workforce or the employees that have been told to go home and sit, what goes through your mind? You fear that maybe if it opens, you will not be there anymore. There won't be any business to talk about. There is also fear of being quarantined. If you get it, most people are even fearing to go and get tested. They fear of being quarantined. There's fear of being separated from their loved ones, from your wife, from your kids. And that fear is genuine. And there's also a feeling of powerlessness. One thing about human beings is that human beings, they want to be in control. You want to be in control with of what you eat, what you put on, what you dress, what you drive. And bam, all of a sudden, you are powerless. You do not know when this thing will hit you. You do not know when it will hit your family. You do not know what is happening. And you are actually, for the first time in a long time, you feel so powerless, so helpless. You are not in control of things. And you just watch life unfold. It's not something that we are used to. We always want to be in charge and to be in control. So when that happens, you've got feelings of helplessness. You feel so helpless. Your kids will ask you, Mommy, Daddy, what are you going to do? And you've got no answer. And yet all your life you are a superhero to your kids. And this time you've got no answer. You also got feelings of loneliness. And if they are not abated, you can develop depression. You can develop anger. I can see a lot of people having anger against the government, against health systems, against so many people who, in their own right, they are not also in control. They are just hit in the same way. They are just surprised with what is coming on them. This is a catastrophe. It's something that happened. We call it a black swan, which just appears. And you can be confused. You do not know. You are just confused. And one of the things, especially for those who are on lockdown, so many countries are on lockdown, UK, USA, South Africa, Botswana, Zimbabwe, the whole of practically many nations are on lockdown right now. And one of the things that will happen when you're at home is just pure boredom. And so these feelings are so common. And here's the thing which is so difficult to deal with COVID. COVID, its symptoms are similar to common illnesses. I've got a child who suffers from hay fever. And 2 weeks or 3 weeks ago, before schools were closed because of the COVID, I was called because he was coughing. He always coughs. It's part of his illness. But because everybody in the school feared that it could be COVID, we were called to take my child from boarding school. But it's because of the hay fever. People who are asthmatic, what is happening to them? They will have shortness of breath. They will be coughing. People with cough, people with a common cold, what will happen to them? So people with fever. So not every fever all of a sudden becomes COVID, but the symptoms are similar to so many other illnesses. Right now, the caregivers, the doctors, the frontline people, the nurses, the cleaners, the lab people, all those who are involved in the treatment chain, they are worried of leaving their families, and once you are in contact with a COVID patient, you have to also go in quarantine for 14 days, and you leave your family, you leave your house. There are also problems with what we call vulnerable groups, those who suffer from chronic conditions like diabetes mellitus, old age. We've seen that most of the deaths are happening in people over the age of 55, 60. We've also seen, that the sex ratios of deaths is higher in males. So being male is risky, and we also see that people with pre-underlying diseases, chronic diseases, your cancers and all, also have got problems. And so while these feelings are normal, we also need to understand that not every fever, not every cough, not every sneeze is COVID, because there's always been something which has been happening. So when you're dealing with anxiety, it is important then to be able to recognize the symptoms and signs of anxiety. And so most people just say, I'm anxious, and they do not know the description. So I'm going to give you some descriptions that might happen. It does not mean that you have all of them, but it means that you might have 1 or 2 or 3 of these symptoms. If they are there, then you know definitely you've got anxiety and you need to seek help. And anxiety is all based on fear of the future. You fear the future, fear of the unknown. So you worry about it, you meditate about it, you ruminate, it dominates your thought process, it dominates your mind. And you cannot control it, it just comes. And so anxiety is associated with nervousness. You are nervous, you are restless. This is where you see people pacing up and down, people being tense, your muscles are tense, you can't relax. You've got this feeling of as if you are in danger. You've got this feeling of panic and dread. You are just ready. You are ready for that fight and flight response. It's a normal human response. It is a response that causes us to survive. And when something that threatens you, your body immediately goes into a combat mode, and so you are tense, you are ready to fight. And if you are losing the fight, you run. And if you are, and if you cannot run, you then faint. And all this can be associated with what we call tachycardia. Tachycardia is a rapid heartbeat. You hear your heart. Normally, you are not supposed to hear your heart. If you are hearing your heartbeat, something is wrong. Something is wrong. But you literally hear your heartbeat. Boom, 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 boom. You know, that kind of rapid pulse is one of the symptoms and signs of anxiety. Rapid breathing. what we call hyperventilation. So you see people starting to hyperventilate, and you ask them to slow down, they can't. Even the more you ask them to slow down, they can't. And you actually have to help them to slow down. Hyperventilation. You can see people trembling. Trembling. This is like literally shaking, tremors in your hands, or when you're holding a cup or a spoon, you literally shake. You can also experience a lot of sweating, not only in your palms, but you can sweat anywhere. You can sweat the whole body. You can also feel some muscle twitches, just these muscle twitches on the eye, on your hands, these small little muscles in between. You just see twitches all over. And one of the most important things that will happen is that when you are anxious, you've got difficulty in focusing, you've got difficulty in thinking. You cannot think anything else. All you think is the thing that you're worried about. You're thinking about the same thing. Like in this case, you can be thinking of COVID, and you want to sleep, you think of COVID. You want to call your daughter, you think of COVID. Everything is good to do of COVID, but anxiety can happen with all other things. And because you are continuously thinking, having difficulties in concentrating, one of the symptoms that will come is what is called insomnia. Insomnia is inability to sleep. So anybody who is anxious, they struggle with sleep. They struggle with falling asleep. So we actually call it initial insomnia. In the modern language, we'll say it's like your computer. All those pages are open, and you try to close them, but you can't. So you just stay alive. They resist to be closed, so you can't log out of your mind can't log out of issues. So you stay awake and you can't sleep. And you can't sleep. So you struggle with sleeping. You can also have digestive or gastrointestinal symptoms. This is where you feel gas in your stomach. You just feel this funny feeling as if your intestines are turning. You might have a bit of diarrhea. You might even go to the toilet, sit on the seat, and there's just wind. But you feel that you're not okay, but there is nothing that is going on. Sometimes it is also called irritable bowel syndromes. Very, very common. And one of the things that we are seeing, especially with the COVID, is that it is triggering what is called obsessive compulsive disorders. Because everybody is watching. And there has, by description, what is called obsessive compulsive disorder. It's a group of symptoms, but it has to do with obsession. Obsession is an intrusive thought in your mind, which means that it intrudes, it gets into your mind, and you cannot control it. And you then have to do an activity or an action to alleviate the anxiety that is caused by that thought. So it's called obsession, which is the intrusive thought. That intrusive thought creates anxiety, and that anxiety causes you to do an action that eliminates or brings down the anxiety. And immediately after you finish, it comes again. So we are going to see a lot of obsessive compulsive, especially when it comes to contamination. So this is where people feel that their hands are contaminated, and they continue to wash until they actually excoriate their hands. They've got sores and things like that, which actually increases their infection or doubt. Of those kind of things. One of the things that we are going to see, especially with the COVID, is post-traumatic stress disorder. Imagine, people that are told that you are COVID positive, and you are immediately taken by these men that are in suits, and you are quarantined, and that whole process of you going in an ambulance, and it's traumatic in itself. And it will present with anxiety symptoms. So if you're suffering from any of these, you don't have to have the whole list, but you can probably be having 2 or 3, 4 or 5, depending on your severity. But these are the things that show that you are anxious. So, how do you protect your mind? I think that's the main thing that I want to talk about today. How do you protect your mind? Your mind is protected when it feels safe. You are protected in your mind when you feel safe, when you're able to remain calm, and when you don't lose hope. A lot of people are losing hope. Never lose your hope. Always be hopeful that things are going to go back to normal. I know things are tight, but never lose your hope. remain calm, and be safe. So do whatever the authorities are telling you to do, in the confines of your home, or in the within the limits of the city, or whatever it might be. One of the things that I also say is that for you to protect your mind, you must maintain your social connectedness. This is very key. A lot of people didn't have any social connected, and all of a sudden, you are now under lockdown. You used to depend with people at work. You used to depend people on the bus. These are the people that you talk to, and all of a sudden, you are locked down in your house. So you need to list the people that you need to connect with, that you need to talk to. So I say, make a list of key people that you need to talk to daily. If you are a parent, you need to talk to your kids, because your kids are also as anxious as you are, if not more anxious. So you need to sit them down. You need to take time with each one of them. If you've got 4, if you've got 3, take time. Take 30 minutes, take 25 minutes with one, and the next. Have that time for social connectedness. Let them feel secure. Tell them, answer the questions that they are asking about COVID. And have time with your spouse. Have time to call your friends on social media. Have time. So list a friend that you need to be calling. List a family member that you need to be calling. Make a list and say, every day, this is my social connective list, and I'm going to be connected with somebody. Don't just be by yourself, because the thoughts will overwhelm you. One of the things that is very key is we need to protect the vulnerable groups. If you are in a vulnerable group, then you need to take extra precaution. And if you know your parents are in the vulnerable groups, then you also need to then protect them further. Alienate them, don't visit them, don't visit your grandmothers, don't visit your people. Send the food, send the resources that are needed, but I think it's better for you to stay away. Talk to them over the phone. That's the beauty of social media, the Zoom, the Live, the WhatsApp, the WeChat, all kinds of things. You're able to do that. One of the things that I also want to say is that when you are dealing with anxiety, for you to maintain your mind, you must be ready for abnormal ways of doing things. What did I say? Abnormal ways of doing things. Things are not normal right now, so you cannot expect life to be as normal. So one of the things that actually makes you less anxious is anticipating that things are going to be abnormal. For example, we had a friend of ours who lost their mom yesterday. For the first time, we just had to call them on the phone. Usually we would have gone and visited, but it's abnormal. We cannot go. There's nobody who's gathering for funerals. This is the first time people are being buried in 24 hours. So things are abnormal. So we must get ready. Things are going to be disruptive. We're going to disrupt our normal cultures, our normal way of doing things, and we must be ready for that. Right now, you cannot even go and see your doctor. You have to call your doctor. Telemedicine, it has to come forth. You have to look at abnormal ways of living your life. So get ready for abnormal ways. And it's key. Being locked down is abnormal. Being with your spouse, kids, 24/7 for 3, 4, 6 months, 3 months, 2 months is abnormal. But we have to get used to it now. And so prepare so that you don't get the shock when it happens. All right. So there are other things that you can also do to maintain your well-being, your exercise. Have an exercise routine, walk around, use a skipping rope, cognitive exercises, play chess, play numbers games, play memory games, keep yourself busy, relaxation techniques. This I'm going to show you. There's going to be in Zimbabwe we have actually created a Facebook page where psychologists, clinical psychologists, psychiatrists have come together. OTs, psychiatric nurses, counselors are now helping people with videos. I'm going to show it at the very end. Relaxation techniques, sleeping, reading books, watching a movie. Have a movie schedule. Watch 1 movie per day. Watch 2 movies per day, and but don't just spend the whole time watching movies. Do the exercises. Have time to talk to people, chat with people. So have this routine so that you block the things that you need to do. Avoid rumors. Avoid misinformation. There's so much misinformation about COVID, there's no need for you to be watching COVID updates every 30 seconds. There is absolutely no need. You can just probably have one time of the day where you block, and maybe 10 minutes you just hear updates in your country and what is happening, new things, but that's all. But you don't have to be watching, 30 seconds, every 30 minutes, you've got an update that is going to mess you up. You're wasting time and you're feeding yourself with fear, because what your mind focuses on, that's what it will think about. And so one of the things that I also want to talk about is that there's going to be a temptation to start to use drugs, cannabis, alcohol, to kill the boredom or to sleep. Please try to avoid this. If you're not sleeping, find your doctor. Here's the thing. When do you need to see a doctor or a psychiatrist? You now need treatment when everybody gets anxious. All right, everybody gets anxious. I got anxious. If you don't get anxious, then you are not real. You are not practical. Everybody gets anxious, but not everybody who is anxious needs a psychiatrist or needs treatment. So at what point do you now say that I need treatment? When your anxiety is interfering with your daily task, when you can no longer function because of anxious, because of the insomnia, because of the irritability, because of the boom, 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 the palpitations, when your mind is just skewed, is just running, and you can no longer focus, and it's now affecting your daily activities. You cannot be a mom anymore to your kids. You cannot be a father to your kids. You cannot concentrate on the work that you're supposed to do. You can't be calm. You can't sleep. You need to see a doctor. One of the things, and the people that are affected with anxiety, especially with this COVID health anxiety, are people that were already suffering from anxiety before. So their propensity of being anxious even now is very high. So you need to really watch. If you were anxious before, you've been treated for anxiety before, your likelihood of becoming more anxious and having a relapse is very high. So watch yourself and check the symptoms that I gave. When your anxiety is associated with insomnia, you've spent the whole week, you can't sleep. You are now experiencing a loss of appetite. You are now irritable. You are nasty to everybody. You're just keyed up, and you want to shoot somebody and things like that. You know that you need help. If anxiety is not treated, it can also trigger depression. And depression is something that maybe I will talk about next week, because it's something that can start to set in. But in a nutshell, the two main key symptoms of depression is either sad or low mood. Your mood is low, or you feel sad, and you lose interest in things that you used to have interest in. For example, when you used to watch TV, now you don't like watching TV. You used to watch like talking to your kids, now you ignore your child. I had one patient who came to me and said, and she's got a 2 months old child, and she said to me that, look, I'll just watch the child. I'll just leave the child cry. It didn't even bother me that the child was crying, which is unlikely for a mother, but it shows that you now have got depression, that lack of care, things that you would run for, things that you would do, you now don't want. So you've got depression and you've got insomnia, loss of appetite, disturbing your daily activities. You definitely need to get help. You need to get help immediately if you have been experiencing what I call thoughts of death. Thoughts of death are thoughts of saying, you know what, I wish I would just sleep and not wake up. Those are what we call thoughts of death. Or I wish I would just sleep and just die in my sleep. Or you actually have got suicide ideas. You're thinking, you know what, it's better for me to die. And what we've been seeing is, we've been seeing a lot of increase in suicide in cases and in places where there's COVID, where people that are tested positive are jumping off buildings, are killing themselves. So if you've got suicide and you've got suicidal thoughts, you need to see a doctor. You need help. And sometimes even when you are experiencing what we call panic attacks, these are sudden attacks of intense anxiety over a period of 5 to 10 minutes where you've got rapid heart and you are breathing, you feel as if you are going to die, running out of air, and all those kind of things. That is a panic attack. When you experience these things, you definitely need help. And yeah, so these were some of the things that I thought we'll do. I'm running out of time and not running out of words. But if I would want you to on those who are on Facebook, we have set up together with the Ministry of Health with what I call a psychosocial team made out of psychiatrists, psychologists, occupational therapists, social workers, counselors, all the people, psychiatric nurses, all the people that are actually involved in psychosocial support and mental health treatment. We have set up this in Sound Mind Zim. It's a Facebook page where we are now posting things that are related to COVID. We are going to be posting videos there every day from different people, relaxation techniques, how to meditate. The autists are going to tell us how to schedule our days, how to plan our days so that we are not bored. But this is Dr. S.M. Chirisa. This is also sponsored by Borodor Halfway House and Triple H Highlands Halfway House, your private psychiatric rehabilitation centers and private hospitals right here in Zimbabwe. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope this was of help. Until we meet next time. So let's meet next week on Wednesday, same time, when we look at another issue that is to do with mental health. Thank you so much.